My name is Stephen Rafferty, and you're watching These Are Questions. This is the internet show where I ask people questions about things, life, and such not. Today's guest is a multi-facet artist. Please welcome Sydney Kaye.
Sydney, hey, welcome to These Are Questions.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
You're welcome, and I'm glad you're here, and I'm excited to interview you here for These Are Questions. Before we get into the show itself, Sydney, I need to explain the rules of These Are Questions. Sydney, I'm going to ask you a series of questions that are going to be based around your career and aspirations, along with a mixture of questions that are borderline idiotic and, well, randomly stupid. Do you accept those terms?
I do.
Good. All right. Cool. So, Sydney, are you ready?
I guess we'll find out. Let's go.
Ooh, okay. We will find out. Internet, are you ready? I see an artist in the background. He has a canvas with a thumbs up, so I'm going to take that as a yes. With that in mind, let's begin. So, Sydney, tell me a little bit about your journey and how you got into the arts specifically.
Well, I definitely started my creative stuff young. It definitely wasn't printmaking or necessarily studio arts. I was into music. I wanted to be a singer. I was in a bunch of children's musicals very young. My dad was in theater at that time as well too. I was in a community where there was lots of music and performing. And I did that at a very young age. And then, started getting into school, was interested in that. But then we start drawing. Everybody does at some point, doodling, whatever. I started really getting into it when I took my first solid art classes in high school, but I was also doing theater, and acting I didn't get a lot of support that I would have needed at that time to develop those skill sets at that age. So I shifted to set building and props and set design and set dressing. And I really enjoyed that. It was very tangible. I could see my improvement. I could see the differences that we're making, and creating environment was really cool for then something to happen. It was super interesting to me, as well as the more traditional art of drawing and learning perspective, painting, those kinds of things, and a little bit of printmaking in my senior year of high school, I think. So I had decided by senior year that, I want to do art, but I didn't know what. I didn't know if it was going to be set design or something more like painting, fine arty like painting. I knew I wasn't into graphic design because it still kind of scares me. Computer art was so not where I was at, and it's very funny because I use digital art a lot now. I went to community college. I got into an honors program at Broward College the week before classes, which was crazy. I had gotten in touch with the dean with a separate schedule issue, and he was like, "You seem really articulate and into art, and you know what you want. We've already closed submissions for this because that was the deadline and I hadn't been exposed to it. But if you could get your portfolio on my desk by 4:00 the next day, I can get it in front of the committee." And I got in the week before my first year of college. And that was it. It was over. I was in art school.
Hey, go figure, just like that.
Yeah, I did, I learned all the foundations, was starting to learn more about the art world and the academia side of art. And I took my first printmaking class and fell in love. The way I like to say it is because printmaking is such a broad umbrella term for a lot of different skill sets. I can do anything you can do, and then I could do it twice. That's how I like to phrase it, because it encompasses everything from sculpture to painting to a lot of the finer digital things. You can do a little bit of everything in one place and then recreate it multiple times for most of the parts of printmaking. So I went through that program. I graduated. I went to university, transferred to USF, I just graduated with my BFA in printmaking, and now I'm here back home in beautiful South Florida, getting involved in the independent artist scene and loving every second of it. I started interning with IS Projects over in Fat Village. I recently started working also at In Bloom Studios, which is woodworking, CNC routing, laser engraving, furniture fabrication kind of stuff. And I'm participating in art events, and this is my life now.
Wow. Look at you doing amazing things in all different facets of art and really showcasing the ability and your skill set to really become, as I've mentioned, a multi-facet artist, just working in various different art mediums and just exploring and figuring out what works best for you and just putting yourself out there more and more. So that's fantastic. I wish you best of luck with everything going forward. So, but you already have so much in you're welcome. And you already have so much in your repertoire. So it's just going to keep going up.
That's the dream. That's the hope.
Fingers crossed. Your name is Sydney. I wanted to ask you, would you be open to traveling to Sydney, Australia?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we already live in the Australia of the United States, being Florida, as the meme goes. Yes. But I was actually named after Sydney, Australia.
Oh, okay.
When my mom was working for a company, and they had a lot of dealings with a company in Sydney, and she loved the way it felt when she wrote it, so she named me Sydney.
Wow.
Because they were constantly dealing with Sydney, Australia. We actually have a painting of the bridge in the living room. The next room over, where it's over the harbor, and you can see the opera house and all the little boats and everything.
Oh, that's cool. Well, you just went through my question, because I was going to go from Sydney, Australia to saying, did you want it to recite at the Sydney Opera House? But you already just beat me to it. It's like you're a mind reader.
We're on the same wavelength.
Yes, same wavelength. Yes. I'll give you that. Credit is due for that. So. But that's cool. I did not know that. Now I learned something new today. See, sometimes we learn things on These Are Questions. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. Yeah. How can you best describe the creative processes of making an art piece come to life?
That's a hard one. Because it can depend on the medium. Generally, you start with you brainstorm, but I'm thinking outside of academic terms, because I was in art school for 5 years. So the process was, there's an assignment in a specific medium, and then you have to create content that works with that. But now that I'm not there, it's more of a having an idea and what materials feed into that question. So generally, if you have, the way it's gone for me in pieces that I've made outside of school life, or just outside of just directions, basically outside of commission-based kind of ideas, it's I have an idea, I have a feeling or an experience or setting I want to create, and then I just start spitballing ideas. I don't really sketch a lot at the start. I'm very word heavy in the beginning, because in my inner monologue is it's words. And it's sentences and talking through stuff. I guess it's more of like a verbal processing thing. So I literally will just write down ideas constantly, and then I'll start rearranging them or picking ones and refining. And then once I get to that point, I'll start sketching. Once you get into the thumbnailing stage of all right, this is where I'm going to start gathering materials and fabricating the pieces parts, whether that's, what paper am I going to use, what colors am I going to involve for something that's more 2D, or, a sculpture, figuring out the dimensions, the sizes, what tools I need to cut the materials down to that size. And then it's the process of making. So taking care of the structural stuff first, and then getting into kind of the final touches of how it arranges in a space. So with something that's 2D, it's more like what setting is it going to be in? How does framing it work? How do I want to light it for capturing the image? Or how do I want to share it and title it? For something 3D or more like an installation, it's more in depth of creating an experience. So that is when it comes to an installation or the kind of like the altarpieces that I've made, it's how do I set this up to invite people into it and then have their experience, whatever that experience may be. I can feed content into it, but I do not guarantee what someone's going to get out of it. That's up to them. So it's just making it a space where I have all the pieces parts to lead to this kind of general area of experiences that I'm hoping they may open up to. And how can I achieve that through color or sound or the imagery I involve or the kind of like the wear and tear on a piece of furniture that I involve, like whatever that's going for. How specific do I need to get to create an overall setting for someone to be led to a realm of feelings?
Yes.
And that's kind of how it goes, is you get it as far as you can with what you have and set it up to the best of your ability. There's a lot of the points where you have to just stop and look away at something else or go take care of something else and then come back and look at it with fresh eyes. That's one of the hardest things to do, because you get so close in and tight knit on a detail that you just want to focus and get perfect that you often will lose the sense of the big picture.
Yeah.
And that's whether it's like a painting or a drawing or, a big sculpture.
Absolutely. And like 9 out of 10 times, I'm not necessarily an artist per se, but I can relate in some aspects with graphic design. Sometimes you focus on some of the minute and some of the finite details so much sure that it messes up with the big picture. And 9 out of 10 times, the general individual will look at that and won't even notice the tiny little detail that you yourself are working on. So agonizing over the spacing of some letters, or like this one thing that I had such a clear picture in my head of what it was going to look like, but if you invited somebody else in to look at this with no previous conception of what it was, it would not impact their experience in any way whatsoever. To us, it's everything. Yes. It's the end all be all, It absolutely is. So my next question is, if Halloween were 365 days a year, what would be your go-to character to dress up as?
Oh, that's so hard.
No pressure. Well, it's just a little bit of pressure.
No pressure. That's the hardest question. That's what's tended to be my go-to, whether I intended it or not, is like a Beetlejuice character.
Okay, yeah, I can see you rocking that.
I did a Beetlejuice. I think there was a Halloween party hosted at Fat Village, and I did my first ever Beetlejuice, and it's kind of evolved. I have like different versions of Beetlejuice that I'll dress up as now because I just have these random pieces that lend to that character. It'd be a tie between that and just like a casual witch. Okay. It's just like, black clothes, cute little hat, big boots. So like Beetlejuice for good makeup days, casual witch for bummy days.
Oh, okay. And if you're feeling special or adventurous, you could combine the two ideas together and you could be a Beetlejuice witch.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, That could be for the actual Halloween, like the October 31st.
Absolutely.
That would be the special occasion. Okay, so Sydney, my next question is something that I actually have to show you. I'm going to pull it over here. I have this blank canvas and a Sharpie. Can you tell me what I need to do with this?
Pick anything other than a Sharpie.
Okay, a pen.
Pen's fine.
What should I do with this? No pressure.
Oh, I wish I still knew the whistlegraph. Whistlegraphs are like, there's songs you can sing that you link up with shapes, and then at the end you'll get the same drawing every time, but I don't remember it.
Okay.
What if? Okay. Ooh, let me see if I can make you draw. Okay, draw a 2.
A 2? Okay.
Yeah.
This is gonna be
a curved top and then a flat line on the bottom. Like
this.
That's more of a S, but close enough. We can work with that.
Okay.
We can work with it.
I'm drawing with my non-dominant hand, so because I did not plan this question out any further. I thought this was going to be a good idea.
Okay. Draw a little. Make the top line like a little oval.
The top line an oval. Okay, so like this.
Yeah, that leads back into the curve.
Oh, I'm gonna mess this up. Okay, like that.
Yeah, and then put a little triangle at the end of the oval. So the one closest to your face.
Okay, so this one, put a triangle?
Yeah, put a little triangle pointing towards your face.
Okay. Oh, okay, I see the art happening. I see it happening. Getting there.
And now you're going to make another curve from the bottom of that oval.
Okay.
To the corner of that. Yeah, and just lead that up to the bottom of the top oval. So curve it up.
Like
curve in towards you. Yeah, that works fine too. Yeah.
Okay. Good so far. We got art here.
And now we're gonna make another triangle right at the bottom.
Okay.
So right at the bottom, and just make a triangle where the flat edge is pointing towards your chest. So the point is on the bottom, and the flat edge is pointing towards your chest.
Okay, so like this. Okay, it's close enough. There we go. Yeah.
Kind of. Okay.
We're trying.
And then do a little oval right under the whole image. Just a little oval. Right at the very bottom of the page. Just a little long oval, a long skinny oval.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna mess this up. Like right here.
Like under it.
Okay, so like here.
So you don't have to connect it to it. Just right under it.
Just draw an oval.
Yeah.
But which way? Like horizontal or vertical?
Horizontal. Like a long skinny one.
Like that. Kind of.
You have a penguin.
Ah, yay! Penguin. What should I name this penguin?
I don't know.
It's your drawing.
You know, it's yours. You did it. Name your art piece.
Okay. I'll name it Art Penguin.
Art Penguin.
All right. There we go. Well, the signature pen's out. Fine. Throw it later. It's fine. We'll get back to it later. We'll get back to that. But thank you, though. Now I learned how to draw a penguin today, so that's the highlight of my day. Now back to what I know best: asking stupid questions. My next question is: can a Burger King Whopper be used as a flotation device?
For ants, maybe.
Okay.
Like a really small lizard. Like the bun, probably. I don't know if the patty would.
Patty's usually kind of heavy.
I don't know. I don't know the density or the like porosity of a beef patty, assuming it's beef.
Question mark. We can't allege. I don't want to get sued by Burger King, but
no, not at all. You're totally 100% beef patty.
That's right.
But definitely the bread for sure, until it gets like soggy and like falls apart, because 100% bread is biodegradable. So like, yeah, it's a eco-friendly flotation device for ants and small lizards and amphibians. 100%.
So if Burger King decides to promote their eco-friendly buns, they have a demographic for them. So
absolutely. Shout
out to the ants, the lizards, the crawling creatures. That's for you. That's for them. That's for them. Now, on an actual question here, what was one of the toughest art pieces you've had to create so far in your art career?
Definitely it was my it was the piece called Be Gentle with Yourself.
Okay.
Which was my thesis piece for my BFA. Because not only was it the content was heavily based on my personal journey with mental health at the time, and dealing with anxiety and self-worth problems, and a lot of self-care struggles and neglecting that and bringing that to the forefront of your emotions are a part of you, and paying attention to your emotions and devoting time and energy to taking care of your emotions and listening to your emotions is an act of self-devotion. So I created this altar piece with animal imagery that related to like the big three negative emotions, which really are just our body's warning systems of fear and anger and grief, serve very specific purposes, and they let us know what needs to be paid attention to. But when you don't take in that information and do anything about that, when you sit there, all they can do is continue to sound the alarm, and those things can develop into anxiety and anger problems and a lot of other things. Just speaking in very broad terms, of course.
Right, of course.
That is something I've struggled with for a very long time. I had my anxiety was at an all-time high when I was in university due to a lot of different factors. And I was having to address it for the first time intensely, because it got to the point where I could not ignore it. It was making day-to-day life and functionality impossible, because I wasn't taking care of that part of myself. And it was just, on top of that content being so personal and having to pull a narrative out of my personal experience and then make it relatable and broader and more interpretable to other people, like make it so other people could relate to it, and use imagery and a visual language that a lot of people could access, not just people with, art school brain.
Right.
And technical terms, that was the difficult. It was also super difficult because at the time, on top of, having peeled away all those layers of my mental health journey at that point, there was also a lot going on in my family. It was, we were going through a really big period of loss and stress. And with the pandemic, we couldn't be together. And that was terrifying. And I was having to make this piece and get it ready and put on a show. And it was the last thing I cared about in that moment.
Oh.
I wanted to go be with my family. And I couldn't. So it was hard to do all of that at the same time. And I would never put myself through that again, because now I'm in the process of processing all the things I couldn't take care of in that moment, because I had to graduate, because I had to get through those things, because that was the only thing I could do. I couldn't go home and be with family. I couldn't take care of, well, there were a lot of things I couldn't control in those situations without getting too narrow and specific, but
right, of course.
It was the toughest because I was in a position where I couldn't take care of myself when I was making art specifically about taking care of yourself. So it was hard to fight that cognitive dissonance on the biggest level I had at that moment in time. So that was definitely the hardest piece to bring to fruition, because it was the deepest, most academic piece I had done. It was the most personal piece I had done. It's also one of the most successful, I think, in terms of bringing all of my skills to the forefront. But it was the toughest to be able to be that vulnerable, get it all put together, and then go on and continue sharing it when I felt like the complete ass opposite of everything it was talking about. And I mean, like, aside from that, every next piece is going to be the hardest piece you make. The piece I want to make, but I haven't gotten there yet, that's always going to be my hardest piece. And everything I make is personal. That's how I make art. And even when I don't mean to make a self-portrait, I do. Even when I don't want to make art about myself, I do. And that's just part of the human experience. So there's parts of that are always going to be the same no matter what piece I make. But both on a technical and personal level, that one was the hardest.
Well, I thank you for sharing a little bit about your personal stories. It's not easy, especially during the period of time that all of us were going through. Everyone has their own individual challenges and struggles. But, at times it could be hard to move forward. But during those times, that's the time where you do need to move forward as best as you can. And I'm happy that you were able to create a piece that resonates, whether through own fault of your own, or whatever the case may be, you were able to create something out of it and spin it to more of a positive type experience. And at the end of the day, you were able to graduate and you were able to continue on into your art journey. And, you know, you may look back at it later on and you would say this was a period that was somewhat difficult, but now I can say I'm in a better space for myself and I'm doing the best that I can every day. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I appreciate you sharing that. I appreciate you doing what you're doing in artistry and doing the best that you can there. And it does lead to my next question. Could you give me a great piece of art advice for someone who's never created an art piece before? Maybe it's someone that wants to drive and dwell into different art mediums.
For someone like starting out in art or just wanting to try it, the biggest piece of advice I have is don't be afraid to mess up. Do not be afraid to fuck up. You're going to fuck up. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to feel stupid. You're going to make something that isn't what you wanted it to be, but that is literally the only way to learn. And it's perfectly okay. It's perfectly normal. There are so many things that I've made and poured hours to that did not come to fruition. But I learned so much more from those experiences than the ones that I was able to crank out and be perfect, or at least get to a finished position that I was happy with. I learned so much more from the failures than I do the successes. And that starts being really comfortable. That starts being really fun even. It's like, wow, this is so not what I wanted. This is so did not go the way I wanted it to. But, you know, now I know what not to do. Mm-hmm. You learn to laugh with it. You learn to roll with it. It's like, all right, that didn't work out. Let's try something else now. You roll with it because it's always going to feel like the end of the world at the start. But sometimes it just means, all right, this is where I need to stop for today. I'll go home, I'll have dinner, I'll take a load off, get out of the studio, get out of my workspace or whatever for the day, sleep on it, come back tomorrow, and you will have new thoughts on how to do this. You will have new idea. You will have a new avenue to take. And that's just how it goes. And like, that's how I found out about digital art and graphic design. Like, I have interest in it and I know there's skills in that are useful to me, but that is so not how my brain works.
Right.
That is so not, I am so tactile. I'm way more comfortable when I'm in like crappy overalls and covered in paint and ink and gross. Like, my hands are still like gray and gross from printing yesterday. So don't be afraid to try everything. And it's okay to say like, wow, this really isn't my forte. There are techniques from this that are useful to what I want to do, and I can work on learning them. But this isn't what I'm good at. And this isn't what makes me happy. If you try something and it makes you feel like crap, even if you like the way it looks, if doing it is gross, like there are some things I don't like carving. The texture of them is awful, but you can get beautiful things out of them. But I hate using that material. Don't use it. No one says you had to.
No.
Try everything. And when something doesn't work out, either come back to it later with a new perspective or try something else. There's always something new to try. So don't limit yourself, don't pigeonhole yourself, and don't hate on yourself when you mess up, because it's going to happen.
Very wise words. Very wise words. I respect it. And it applies to most situations, not just in art, but just life in general. Sometimes you got to fail. Sometimes you got to get back up. You just got to try again.
Yep, definitely.
Okay. So I have one last final question to ask you. We are getting to the end of our interview. And the question I wanted to ask you is a question that I'm asking every single guest on These Are Questions Season 3. And the question is I am making a music playlist this season on These Are Questions. And I'm asking each guest to tell me, and you can give me up to 5, but what are some of your favorite songs that define your personality?
Oh, God. The heart, only 5? Damn.
Well,
all right, I know the first one right off the bat.
Okay.
It is In a Week. by Hosier.
Okay.
There's also a features artist on it that I always forget the name of, and I feel awful because she's an incredible singer, but it's In a Week. If you've seen my artwork, you definitely get why.
Fair enough.
And if you've ever listened to Hosier, you definitely get why. It's all about devotion. Gosh, my personality. Oh.
No pressure. Again.
I just have to think. I'm like, what have I been listening to recently? Because that's going to be the best representation of where I'm at right now. God. I'm going to pull up my Spotify. Hang on.
You can go right ahead. Go right ahead. You know, up to 5, couple songs. I've interviewed different guests and they've given me different answers. Some the viewers have seen, some the viewers haven't seen yet. But you know, it's interesting the thought processes and how everyone thinks about that question. So,
this isn't helping. That's making it harder. Okay, I'm just gonna like list off my fades and hope that it's succinct enough and not overanalyze it. Oh, what's that song by Ash Nico? What's the name of that song?
I don't know.
There's a couple of them I really like. But
Okay.
I'm trying to think of this one. It's I think it's called Hi, It's Me. It's like, hi, it's me, your best friend. Here to remind you that he's not worth it. A little salty, but you know. There's also, God, this could be the most boring part of this episode while I sit here and just think.
No, don't worry. It's the most exciting part. What are you talking about? It's not boring at all.
Oh, what's that song? I hate questions like these because it's immediately your brain throws everything you know about yourself completely out of the window, and you're like, oh.
And it's always going to happen after the interview is over. You're going to be like, I remember this song. I remember this song. I remember that song. Why didn't I say this song in the interview?
It's going to haunt me. It's going to haunt me for the next week. Like, I'm going to text you and be like, this is what I meant. This is the song I was thinking of. But
Okay, we got 2 songs. If you can give me one more, that at least it's 3. That's at least 3. I'll take that.
I have it. It's like right there. I just can't get to the. Oh, what is it?
What's the artist? Is there specific?
The problem is it's not an artist. It's from a music.
Oh.
But I can. There's one that I'm chasing, and I'm like sorting through the musicals I know to place it.
Okay.
So I will have it in just right there. Okay. Focusing.
Gotta get on the same wavelength.
Oh my God, it's so gone now. Damn.
You got this. I believe in you. You can do this. One more.
You know what? Okay. This is a little movie nerdy, but it's the theme to Shakespeare in Love. I don't know the name of the song, but it's the theme that they have to Shakespeare in Love that plays throughout the movie. I love that.
Okay.
It's beautiful. Let me see if I could give you one that's like an actual song and not just like a movie soundtrack.
I mean, that's fine. Okay, one more. You got one more? You got one more?
I got one more.
Okay, one more. Final countdown. Not the song, but the actual final countdown. Here we go. One more.
I know what it is. It's my friend's band's new single.
Okay.
It's called No Grieving.
No Grieving.
It's called No Grieving. The band is I Alone. They just released it. I did the cover art for it.
Did you?
I did.
Okay. That's cool. Well,
but yeah.
Shout out to them.
That song. It's really good.
Okay. I have to check that one out. But don't worry, we're going to put all these songs together on our big playlist when we finish off the season for These Are Questions. So you'll be able to listen to them the views will be able to listen to them, and I will be able to listen to them. Who would have thought? So I can't wait to have the whole playlist together. It'll be a nice little mixtape.
My section is gonna be the most inconsistent. It's gonna be great.
That's gonna be the theme of the entire playlist. It's gonna be
amazing.
Gonna be inconsistent as.
I hope you have everything from sea shanties to like heavy metal and like hardcore rap in between.
Yes, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good playlist. I can feel it now. It is. It's going to be.
The vibes are gonna be.
Yes, amazing. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Even though the chef is a chef, not a musician, but whatever. It's the same. It's the same premise. Same premise. All right, we're going to the outro. Sydney, we are at the end of our These Are Questions interview. It was a pleasure interviewing you, but now the floor is yours. Is there anything that you want to promote? Anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to say? Any last words? This is your time to shine.
Oh, pressure's on. All right. I have what is called a coffee. It is a platform similar to Patreon. I have my shop there where I sell my prints as well as my digital work. That is also where you can commission me, like our friend here has. I did a fun little spooky thing for him. I have everything from simple doodle portraits to couples portraits to like spooky Halloween Universal monster themed drawings. I also can do just more digital paintings of whatever you want, or something more like a graphic, or not a logo, but like a little character or something for a profile picture. I enjoy those. You can also, I'm going to start opening commissions for woodblock carvings. But that is where you'll find all of my printmaking, painting, announcements on any big projects. That is where you can support me as an artist and find out what I'm doing. You can also follow me on Instagram, Sydney Kaye's Art. That's where I'm most active. You can also, I have membership tiers through the coffee. So if you want to sign on and be super involved with, my blog posts or what I'm doing, you want to give me feedback on the kind of pieces you want to see, you want to get quarterly rewards, I'll send you little prints that say eat, sleep print, or stickers, handwritten letters, that kind of thing. That is the way to do that. I will also, you can always find me at the end of every month, last Saturday of every month. I will either be at Fat Village or in the Mass District, vending between those two places. I work at IS Projects, where I intern with them and help them sell through their storefront, and I help out at the gallery, or I will be over in the Mass District with In Bloom Studios working on some fun woodworking stuff. Check out No Grieving by I Alone. It's super cool. I'm really grateful to have worked with them, and I look forward to the rest of their songs coming out. They have a concert in Jacksonville this weekend.
Okay.
I don't know what this is coming out, so probably
this will be
much
out
later.
Yeah, it'll be out much later. But at the time where I am right now, they have a concert in Jacksonville in a week, and it's going to be awesome. But they will have tons of shows coming up soon. So yeah, keep tabs with them. They're super awesome. Definitely a sick metal band. All right, we'll do. All righty. Well, Sydney, once again, thank you so much for being a part of These Are Questions. But now we're at the end, so the only thing I have left to say is thank you for everyone that is listening and watching this episode. And to everyone watching and listening, again, have a good night, and we'll see y'all later. Good night, or good morning, good afternoon. Whenever you watch this, I don't know, you could be watching this at like 8:32 p.m. in like Antarctica or something, with the penguins, which by the way, my penguin's not doing so good. I threw him across the office, so it's okay. We'll recover. He'll be fine. Fine.